Good evening, and thank you guys for coming. My name is James Wildman. I am the Humane Educator for the Animal Rights Foundation of Florida. Now, I'm typically giving this presentation in a high school or college classroom, which has some benefits. One, school is like prison. I'm always guaranteed an audience. And like prison, the kids can't leave. Unfortunately, this isn't school or prison. You can leave whenever you like, but hopefully you will stay. Now, another benefit of talking in a high school or college classroom is that I know my audience. I pretty much can guarantee that 99% of the students in that class are eating meat, dairy, eggs. But when I talk to adults, I really have no idea what your diet consists of. And you're in a vegan restaurant right now, so I'd like to find out. So if everybody can please stand up. Okay, now if you are vegan, meaning you choose not to eat any flesh of an animal, no cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, fish, and no byproducts, no dairy, no eggs, nothing that comes from an animal. If you are vegan, please have a seat. Wow, okay, all right, very good, very good. All right, now the rest of you, you're going to have to remain standing throughout the rest of the presentation. I'm kidding, just everybody have a seat. Thank you. Now, how many of you have ever seen the movie The Matrix? Please raise your hand. All right, good. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, there's a scene at the very beginning of the film where the main character is presented with two pills, one blue and one red. And he has to make a choice. If you choose the blue pill, he falls asleep, and when he wakes up, everything will be exactly the way it's always been. If you choose the red pill, he finally learns the truth. I'm here today to give you that red pill. So, what does the Matrix look like? Let me show you. Now, despite what you might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is. All right, so please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. All right, please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. All right, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Yeah, they look the same. The reason why they look the same is because, in fact, they are the same. These two circles are equal. I got about more than half of you to raise your hand and say they're not. So, what do we learn? That you could be manipulated just like a high school kid, and it doesn't take very much. Now, just imagine if, as a child, you were taught the lie that the blue circle is larger than the red, or that the red is larger than the blue, that lie becomes part of your reality. And if you say the lie enough times, you actually convince yourself that's the truth. And if enough people are taught that lie, well, now that lie becomes part of the culture. And then if that culture passes that misinformation along to the next generation, their children, well, now that lie becomes tradition. And we have to remember is tradition and morality, what we believe to be right, are not always the same. Can you think of any traditions that we once had in the United States of America that, thankfully, today, we no longer have?
Slavery.
Less than 200 years ago, slavery was a tradition in this country. Less than 100 years ago, women didn't have the right to vote. And less than 50 years ago, segregation was a part of this culture. But as we evolve as a culture, so do our traditions. So is our way of thinking. You see, the Matrix is simply a story, and this story is being told again and again and again. In fact, if you believe the image on the carton is where you're getting your milk from, you're deceiving yourself. This is a fantasy. It only exists in your head. It's a blue pill fed to you by the industry to get you to buy their product. This is the Matrix, the lie we tell ourselves about where our food is coming from. You see, the reality is far more disturbing. 90 to 95% of the milk, the meat, and the eggs that we consume in the United States are coming from these conditions. Now, this is called factory farming. This is where you take thousands of hens, pigs, and cows, you can find them into warehouses. In fact, every year in the United States, 10 billion, right? 10 billion cows, pigs, and chickens are being slaughtered for food. So what that works out to be is every second in the United States, 300 animals are killed. Just like that. So, 300, 600, 900, 1,200. By the time this presentation is over 1 million animals will have been slaughtered. Now, how is it possible we can kill 300 animals like that without even questioning it? Because of the story. You see, the story justifies the action. In fact, if you say it enough times, you actually convince yourself that's the truth. Now, how many of you were taught as a child that you need to eat meat to get protein? I know I was. How many of you were taught you need to drink cow's milk to get strong bones? Cow's milk, not dog milk, not cat milk, not rat milk, not mouse milk, not elephant milk, not giraffe milk, not chimp milk or real milk, not rhino milk, not even the milk from your own mother. No, you need to drink the liquid secretions that drip, drip, drip from a cow's udder to get strong bones. Now, I am not here to tell you what to do. I simply want to know the truth. So let's find out if the Matrix is telling the truth. Now, the first story that we've all been taught is that our diet is natural. Well, let's find out just how natural our diet really is. Let's take a 3-year-old from any country in the world. Put that through in a room and line up 5 animals in front of that 3-year-old. A pig, a dog, a cow, a cat, and a chicken. Do you think the 3-year-old's going to know which one to pet and which one to eat? What's the 3-year-old most likely going to try to do? Pet them all. The 3-year-old has to be taught, no, 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 no. Don't pet him. Eat him, pet him, love him. That's what we were taught. We did not choose our diet. Our diet is a learned behavior. Our diet was chosen to us by our parents based upon a cultural story. If we grew up somewhere else, we might be eating dogs and cats right now. But I guarantee you this, if we were given the choice as a child, none of us would be eating animals. Because no child wants to hurt an animal. And no child wants to pay somebody else to hurt the animal for them. Look, think about it this way. Put a baby in a crib. Put on the right side a baby chick, put on the left side a strawberry. Which one do you think the baby's going to try to play with, and which one do you think the baby's going to try to eat? Most likely the baby's going to try to play with the thing that's moving, and try to pick up the thing that's not moving, and try to put it in his or her mouth. If the baby tries to eat the chick, what's the chick going to do? Yeah, peck, scream, run away. Now, if you walked into a room with a baby in a crib, playing with a strawberry, and chewing on the head of a live chick, what would you think of that baby? You can allow that crazy, savage, psychotic, demonic Satan baby to play with your babies. A play date. You see, if it's not alright for a baby to cause harm to an animal, even when they don't know any better, why does it become more acceptable as we get older, when we do know the difference between a baby chick and a strawberry? And the question is, do we actually find it acceptable to cause harm to an animal? Let's find out. If you were to walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a dog's head, what would you do?
Kill him.
You'd take action, right? But why? Why would you intervene? It's abuse. It's animal cruelty. But what about if you were to walk outside right now and you saw somebody taking a baseball bat to a pig's head? Same exact thing. Why? Because you recognize the similarities between these two animals and not the differences. You know these two animals are equal, just like you knew the two circles were equal, but all you do is tell you a story to go against your natural instinct. You know these two animals are equal, yet every time you sit down for a meal, you create that inequality doesn't actually exist. Now change the baseball bat to a butcher's knife, change the man-to-pig from being outside to a factory farm far, far away. When it's out of sight, it's out of mind. We pay for that very thing we'd never want done in front of us. Look, think about it this way. Take two babies, one white, one black, put them in a room together. You think they care about the color of their skin? Of course not. So what do they want to do? They just want to play. So racism is a learned behavior. Nobody is born a racist. Hatred is something that is taught, passed down from generation to generation. We have been taught to view this animal differently from this animal. We have been taught to believe that this animal deserves to live and this animal deserves to die. But in reality, we recognize their equality. We recognize they share the same needs, and most importantly, we recognize they share the same feelings. In fact, would anybody argue with this statement? All right, so how do we know? How do we know animals have feelings? How many of you have a cat or dog? Please raise your hand. How do you know your cat or dog has feelings? You do know your cat or dog has feelings, right? All right, they bark, they purr, they howl, they whimper, they growl. Their sounds, their movements, they run away when they're scared. They come up to you when they want attention. A dog might wag her tail when she's happy, put her tail between her legs when she's upset. So their sounds, their movements, and their facial expressions let us know they feel. But what about pain? Well, let's do a test. You take your hand, put over a flame, what happens? Burns. Your reaction? You pull back and scream. You take a dog's paw, put over a flame, what's his reaction? Same thing, pull back and scream. Take a pig's leg, put over a flame, same reaction. You take a dog, a pig, a cow, a chicken, a goat, a duck, a horse, a rat, a mouse, any animals will be put by the flame, they all pull back and scream. You take a fish out of water, and what's their reaction? Yeah, why do they flip-flop? They can't breathe. You want to know what it feels to be a fish out of water, have your friend hold your head underwater and not let go. Of course fish have feelings. They're not vegetables, not plants, not fruits. You take a vegetable plant, let's take a fruit, take a strawberry, put it over a flame, what happens? Doesn't have feet to run away, doesn't have wings to fly away, doesn't have fins to swim away, doesn't have a mouth to scream, a nose to smell, 2 eyes to see, 2 ears to hear, a heart to beat, a mind to think, and before you say plants have feelings, there is not one plant on this planet that has a nervous system. Without a nervous system, broccoli cannot feel pain and happiness the way that animals and humans can. Every animal on this planet is capable of experiencing pain. And just like most human beings, no animal wants to feel pain, no animal wants to die. And yet the funny thing is that we've actually been taught our whole life to love animals, to treat all animals with respect and compassion. I mean, just think about the movies that you might take your children and grandchildren to. Do any of these movies look familiar? What are they all about? What kind of animals? Yeah, even fish are being farmed. These are about the animals we eat. And even though we eat them, we root for them too. Look, you might be having bacon every morning for breakfast, but nobody wants to see Wilbur made the bacon in the Charlotte's Web. Now, I guarantee there are thousands of people watching Chicken Run, rooting for the chickens, saying, go, chickens, go, while eating a KFC bucket of chicken wings. How many kids watch the movie Babe, fall in love with Babe, and then go home and are unknowingly served Babe for dinner by their parents? We're teaching kids to love these animals and eat them too. And this is the closest thing you'll come to see their reality in the Matrix, in the story that we've created. But today, we step outside that story. Now, the video I'm about to show you is where 90 to 95% of the meat, dairy, and eggs come from the United States. Let me make this very clear to you. I am not showing you the worst. What you are about to see is standard everyday procedure. And if you find it too upsetting, simply put your head down. But if you cannot bear to watch it, maybe you shouldn't be eating it.
In the next few minutes, you will be given an eye-opening look behind the closed doors of modern farms, hatcheries, and slaughter plants, revealing the journey that animals make from farm to fridge. Crowded by the thousands into filthy sheds, chickens and turkeys are denied many of their most basic natural behaviors and needs, such as fresh air and exercise. Sick or injured birds often have their necks broken. Others are clubbed to death. At the slaughter plant, the birds are dumped from their crates, then roughly snapped upside down into moving shackles by their fragile legs. From there, the birds are dragged through an electrified vat of water which renders them paralyzed, but not necessarily unconscious. They are then pulled across a blade which slices their throats, causing blood to pour from their necks. The egg industry subjects chicks to horrors few of us can even imagine. Because male chicks don't lay eggs and do not grow quickly enough to be raised profitably for meat, they are killed within hours after hatching. Male chicks are typically thrown into giant grinding machines while still alive. Another killing method is to drop male chicks into trash bags to be smothered or suffocated. The females have it even worse, destined for a life of prolonged cruelty. To reduce pecking induced by overcrowded living conditions, workers use a hot blade or laser to remove part of the chick's beaks. This mutilation can cause both acute and chronic pain. After debeaking, the birds are moved to cages where they will spend the rest of their lives. Nearly 95% of egg-laying hens spend their lives confined in tiny wire cages like this. The majority of today's dairy cows are confined on factory farms. Workers subject young cows to painful mutilations and amputations. Here, a worker cuts off a cow's tail, slicing through her sensitive skin, nerves, and bone without any painkillers. Injuries and illness often run rampant in filthy, disease-ridden factory farm environments. Cows too sick or injured to stand are called downers and are often left to slowly suffer and die from their injuries. Calves on dairy farms are dragged away from their mothers and violently killed, all so that humans can have the milk instead. At a fraction of their natural lifespan, the so-called spent dairy cows are prodded onto transport trucks and shipped to slaughterhouses. Unreliable stunning practices at the slaughterhouse condemn many cattle to having their throats cut and their limbs hacked off while still alive and conscious. For nearly their entire 4-month pregnancies, mother sows are locked in narrow metal stalls barely larger than their own bodies. Soon after birth, piglets are castrated by workers who cut into their skin and rip out their testicles. Next, the workers chop off their tails. Both of these painful procedures are nearly always done without anesthesia. Piglets who become sick or injured or who are not growing quickly enough are killed. Common killing methods include being slammed headfirst into the ground. Once pigs have reached market weight, they are sent to slaughter. At the slaughterhouse, pigs are knocked in the head with a steel rod, hung upside down, and have their throats slit. Improper stunning condemns many pigs to having their throats slit while they are fully conscious and suffering. Massive trawling nets indiscriminately drag hundreds of tons of fish and other animals along the ocean floor. As they are dragged up from the ocean depths, the fish undergo excruciatingly painful decompression. The extreme changes in pressure can rupture their swim bladders and pop out their eyes. They are then tossed on board where the surviving fish either suffocate or are crushed to death. Others are still alive when they are hacked apart on these floating slaughterhouses. Today, approximately 1 in 5 fish consumed worldwide is raised in captivity. Like factory-farmed animals on land, farm-raised fish are crowded by the tens of thousands in small, disease- and excrement-ridden areas for their entire lives. When fish reach market weight, they are loaded onto tanker trucks and shipped to slaughter, where common killing methods include slow suffocation.
If you replaced the cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys in that video with dogs and cats, would you feel any different? 200 years ago, people believed that slavery was necessary. And if you tried to reason with a slave owner, as I am trying to reason with you today, they would have tried to justify the cruelty they were causing. Now, I know some of you will leave this room and continue to eat meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. But please do not for 1 second think that it is necessary. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Now, every one of you could smoke cigarettes. Do you think that's necessary? Now, you could smoke a pack of cigarettes every day for the rest of your life, and well, you could live to 100. But what do you put your body at a greater risk of suffering from? Lung cancer, heart disease. Look, you could eat meat, dairy, eggs, and fish your entire life, and well, you could live to 100. But you put your body at a greater risk of suffering from degenerative diseases. You see, these leading causes of death and disease in the United States. In fact, every 34 seconds, somebody suffers a heart attack. Every 40 seconds, a stroke. And every day, 4,600 people are diagnosed with cancer in the United States. 4,600 every day. Please raise your hand if you know somebody or knew somebody who has or had cancer. Yeah, that's what I thought. How about somebody suffered a heart attack? How about somebody with diabetes? Now take a look around. Don't you find this just a little bit disturbing? Which box are you going to fall into? Now, have you ever heard of a gorilla in the wild suffering from type 2 diabetes? You ever heard of a tiger suffering from high cholesterol? You ever heard of an obese wildebeest? These animals don't suffer from these diseases because they're eating what's in their best interest. We are not eating what is in our best interest. And yes, I am fully aware that some animals eat other animals. I get that. That's because, one, they don't have a choice. Animals don't have a choice. We do. It's not like you're going to find a bunch of tigers sitting in a vegan restaurant talking about how deer have feelings and the benefits of tofu. And two, it is in the best interest for a tiger to hunt, kill, and eat a deer. Once again, it is not in our best interest to eat meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. And besides, when did the actions of animals, that some animals eat other animals, become a justification for how we should act? It's funny because everybody wants to eat like a caveman, but nobody wants to live in a cave. Oh, and if you're wondering about the circle of life, what are you, Simba? This isn't the Lion King. This is a nightmare. 365 days of the year, and you're playing the villain. Yet most people are opposed to animal cruelty. Most people don't want animals to suffer. Yet most people don't want the killing to stop. No, they just want the killing to be done in a nicer way. You know, like kosher, halal, humane slaughter. Humane slaughter. What the hell is that? Is that where you like rub a pig's belly, feed him some milk and cookies, and chop his head off? Because if I did that to one of you, would everybody be like, well, at least he got his milk and cookies? Instead of trying to create a nicer system of killing, maybe it's time we stop the system of killing. You know, I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, but if I don't buy the bacon, somebody else will. So what does it matter? Now, what kind of logic is that? Is that the same logic you apply to the rest of your life? Because I guarantee when you go to bed tonight, some bad stuff is going to happen. Somebody's going to get shot and somebody's going to get robbed. Does that mean tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to be like, oh man, you know what? I'm going to go rob somebody. Because it's going to happen no matter what. If you don't agree with murder and theft, don't participate in it. If you don't agree with what you saw in that video, you don't have to participate in it. It's completely unnecessary and unhealthy. So let's take a look at what we are participating in, how it affects the animals, our health, and the health of this planet. Now, these are battery cages. 95% of the eggs that we consume in the United States are coming from these conditions. A battery cage is literally the size of this piece of paper. 4 to 5 hens be put in a cage this size and have their beaks burned off without any painkillers. Why do they burn their beaks off? Yeah, they become aggressive towards each other in these conditions. They're not naturally aggressive. It'd be like if I took 5 in this room, put you in the corner over here, and sealed it off and kept you there for 48 hours straight. Now, you might be rough ones going in, but I guarantee after 48 hours, you're probably not going to be in the best of terms. So, how does the industry solve this problem? Simple. Create a label. Cage-free, free range. Sounds pretty good. Looks pretty good too, right? Well, here's a cage-free farm in Virginia. See, according to the egg industry, this is what freedom looks like. Now, what's your definition of freedom? Does this apply? Cage-free, free range, it's just a label. It allows us to feel better about what we're participating in, but it doesn't mean very much for the animals. What about organic though? We've all heard that's healthier, right? Well, for fruits and vegetables it is. For meat, dairy, eggs, and fish, it ain't. You see, organic simply has to do with the food the animals are fed. No added hormones. And I say added hormones because we eat young animals. We eat animals under the age of 1. These animals are still growing, meaning they have naturally occurring growth hormones in their body at the time of slaughter. There is no such thing as organic chicken, organic turkey, organic beef, organic pork. Not when you're eating babies. So, no added hormones, no antibiotics, and no pesticides. Now, these are 3 things you do not want to put in your body. However, organic has very little to do with the conditions that the animals are raised in. In fact, this is an organic egg farm, Wisconsin. So let me ask you something. Where do these animals go to the bathroom? And where do they eat? And where do they sleep? They eat, sleep, and defecate all in the same spot. Now, does that sound healthy to you? Even on old McDonald's farm, and good luck finding it, all male chicks born in the egg industry are thrown out at birth. The day they are born is the day they die. Why does the egg industry kill all the male chicks? Yeah, they don't produce. They don't lay eggs. They don't fast up your own meat. They don't fit in the equation. So they're doing all of this just so that we can eat this. Well, might as well know what it is. What's an egg? What do you put in your body? And please, don't say a baby chick. This is not a baby chick. It's not a fetus or an embryo either. It can't be, because it's not fertilized, which is good news, because seriously, why would you want to eat an abortion? So what is it? It's an unfertilized egg, which doesn't sound too bad at all, except when you realize that a woman once a month will shed an unfertilized egg if she's not pregnant. What's that called? Congratulations, you're eating a hen's period. It's the unfertilized reproductive cycle of a hen. However, this is not a menstruation cycle. It's not a menstruation cycle because, 1, there's no blood, and 2, they're not mammals. But it is the expulsion of an unfertilized egg, which by any other name is called a period. Now, you don't need to eat a hen's period any more than you need to eat a dog's period, a cat's period, or a woman's period. You don't need to eat anybody's period. And any nutritional benefit you get from a hen's period, you can get from a plant without the high cholesterol. You see, your body naturally makes cholesterol. Your body makes all the cholesterol you need. This is the only type of good cholesterol, what your body makes. Any cholesterol you bring in from the outside is bad. And there's only one way to get bad cholesterol. Animal products. Meat, dairy, eggs, and fish all contain ridiculously high amounts of cholesterol. And when you have high cholesterol, what can that lead to? Heart attacks, heart disease, strokes, and ultimately death. Remember, too much cholesterol clogs arteries. Clogged arteries leads to a lack of blood flow, which can lead to a heart attack, or a lack of oxygen to the brain, which can lead to a stroke. Now, let's not forget, though, that happy cows come from California. But even your happy cows in California are hooked to machines. Now, when does a cow start producing milk? Yeah, she has to be pregnant. She has to give birth. She has to have a baby. There's no such thing as a magical cow that will produce milk on command. She is a mammal. And like all mammals, she has to be pregnant to produce milk. So how does a cow become pregnant? No sex in the farm. A farmer's not going to wait for a cow and a bull to get on. He's not going to set the mood, light some candles, and put on some Barry White. It's funny, I've been doing that for like the last 10 years, right? When I first started going to a high school, I say Barry White, the kids had no idea who I was talking about. So I changed it to Usher, right? That got a lot of laughs. But then Usher fell off the chart, so I went to this guy Neo, which he fell off the chart, so I went back to Usher. So a few weeks ago, I'm giving a presentation, high school in Miami, and at the end of the presentation, teacher goes up to one of the kids and says, "Hey, what do you think of the presentation?" Kid's like, "Oh man, I thought it was great, except for one thing." In my head, I'm thinking, one thing, what is that? Kid goes, "Nobody listens to Usher anymore." Alright, so how do you get a cow pregnant without the bull? Artificial insemination. See, the crazy thing, if I would do this to my female dog, if I were to artificially inseminate my female dog so I could take my dog's milk and put it on my cereal, you would say, "What, are you out of your freaking mind?" Yet when it's done to a cow, it's considered normal. So what's your definition of normal? Alright, now she's pregnant, she gives birth. What happens to her baby? Taken away. All male calves born in dairy industry immediately taken from their mother. chained by the neck to a wooden crate, deprived of mother's milk, fed an inefficient diet, will never be able to turn around, will never see light of day, and will live like this for 8 to 18 weeks, at which point he'll then be shipped off to slaughter and converted to what we call veal. Veal is just a nice way of saying young, sick, baby male calf. If you are drinking cow's milk, the only reason is because a male calf chained to a box isn't. Why do this to the male calf born in the dairy industry, as opposed to a female? How is a male different? Doesn't produce, just like the male chicks in the egg industry. They don't fit in the equation. But the female, well, she does. And she'll be just like her mother, a constant cycle of artificial impregnation, birth, and milking. But she too will be taken away from her mother. Why take the female calf away from her mother? What happens if she stays? What's she gonna do? Oh, we don't want that, do we? So how do you think the cow feels having her baby torn away from her? Same way that you would feel if you had a baby and baby's torn away from you. It is called stress. Stress is hormones released throughout the body. These animals are born into a life of stress. You do not pasteurize the stress out. It becomes part of the flesh, part of the meat, and part of the milk. And when you consume their stress hormones, it could have a negative impact upon your body. In particular, hypertension, high blood pressure, which can lead to a stroke, which is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. Now, after about 4 to 5 years, the dairy cow no longer produces enough milk. She becomes unprofitable. What happens to all the unprofitable dairy cows in the dairy industry? Yeah, they don't come here to Florida to retire. They get shipped off to slaughter, converted to hamburger meat. You ever wonder why it costs 99 cents for a hamburger at McDonald's? It's because it comes from the most sick, abused animal on the planet. Animals too sick to even stand up. You pay for what you get. And just so we're clear, cows are producing 10 times the amount of milk they produce in nature. They're hooked machines 2 to 3 times a day. These machines up their udders cause bruising, swelling, and lacerations. The machine cannot tell the difference between milk and blood. That means that every glass of milk that you drink, even after it's pasteurized, because remember, pasteurization is not a removal process, it is a cooking, sanitation process. So every glass of milk that you drink contains a little bit of blood and a little bit of pus. You know what pus is, right? Pus is when you have a pimple and you pop nasty white stuff that comes out. That's what you need in milk and cheese. Bon appetit. Now, biologically speaking, okay, biologically speaking, in nature, who is a cow producing milk for? Yeah, her baby, her calf, her young. Not for us. Just like when your mom was pregnant with you. Who was she producing milk for? For you. Not for your daddy, not for the neighbor, not for the mailman, not for the dog, and not for the cat. Now, if your daddy was drinking your mother's milk when your mother's pregnant with you, well, then your daddy was stealing your milk. If you're drinking cow's milk, you're stealing his milk. You see, where do all these animals get their milk from? We're the only species on this planet that take milk from another animal. And when do these animals stop consuming milk? After infancy. We're the only species on this planet to continue drinking milk into adulthood. If you really don't think it's weird to be drinking milk at your age and older, think about this. If I brought a pregnant woman into the room right now, how many of you go up to her and say, hey, can I have some of your milk? Don't do that. If you would walk into Publix, Whole Foods, Winn-Dixie, any supermarket, come to the milk aisle, pick up a milk carton, instead of a happy cartoon cow on the cover, there's a picture of a happy cartoon chimpanzee. What you're holding in your hand right now is chimp milk on sale, 2 for 1. What do you think? Now, why would it be nasty and disgusting to take the milk from this animal and not nasty and disgusting to take the milk from this animal? Because you've been told a story. But you know what? If you're drinking cow's milk and you can find yourself some chimp milk, I say make the switch. As disgusting as it is, it actually makes more sense for human beings to take the milk of a chimp than a cow. Why might that be? Yeah, they share about 98% of our DNA. If you're going to take the milk from any animal, when you want to take the animals closest to us, last I checked, we don't look anything like a cow. You see, a calf at birth weighs 90 pounds. That calf go to 500 pounds in 9 months. They can put on 410 pounds in under a year. Man, there's only one product in nature that can make an animal grow that fast. What's that? That's what milk is. Yeah, milk is a naturally occurring growth hormones. Milk is like a natural steroid. And if you think you're drinking organic milk and you're not getting those growth hormones, think again. This is organic milk. It doesn't say no hormones. It says no added hormones. It'd be like if I said to you, I got some rock candy with no added sugar. Well, rock candy is sugar. Milk is a growth hormone, and this growth hormone is meant for one animal and one animal only, a cow. You have to understand milk is specific to every individual species. Here's what I mean. A cow grew to 2,000 pounds in 2 years because they drink the mother's milk, cow milk, growth hormones meant for baby calf, as an infant. Why put growth hormones meant for a 2,000-pound animal into this? Logically speaking, it's illogical. In fact, you know what happens when you start putting too many growth hormones in your body? You grow up normally. Here's what I mean. 30, 40 years ago, girls would start their menstruation cycle, have their first period at the age of 16, 15, or 14. Today, girls have their first period at the age of 12, 11, and 10. That means a 10-year-old can get pregnant, give birth, and be a mother at the age of 10. Does that sound healthy or natural to you? When your body develops faster than nature intended, you are making your body more susceptible to diseases, in particular, cancer. For women, breast cancer, ovarian cancer is on the rise and happening in younger women. And for men, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer is on the rise and happening in younger men. In fact, think about it. Cancer is simply an abnormal growth of cells. Now, you have cancer cells in your body right now. That's normal. What's not normal is when those cells have to multiply rapidly, uncontrollably. There has to be a trigger. We all know that smoking cigarettes is a trigger. Here is another trigger. Because the more growth hormones you put in your body, the more likely your cells will grow abnormally. It's funny though, because everybody wants to find the cure. Walk for the cure, run for the cure, bike for the cure, swim for the cure, dance for the cure. Hell, now you can even take a shit for the cure. Yet nobody wants to know the cause. Even if you find the cure, it doesn't eliminate the cause. Look, you got to understand, cancer is a billion-dollar industry. People are getting rich off of the sickness and disease of others. This pink ribbon bullshit has been placed over our eyes to blind us from looking at the cause. Instead, we pray and give money to people to find a cure. Yet 1/3 of all cancers are diet-related. It's funny because I hear a lot of people say, but cancer runs my family. Heart disease runs my family. Diabetes runs my family. No, you know what runs in your family? Meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. You know the definition of insanity, right? Repeating the same behavior again and again and expecting a different result. So how do you justify an illogical act? You create a story. Now every story has an author. Who is the author of this story? Who came up with this quote? Yeah, the milk industry, the Dairy Council. And what's the ultimate goal of the Dairy Council? Yeah, is this about your health or is it about money? Because what about if I said to you, there's a new story going around. Bacon, it does a body good. Would you believe that? Like, nobody's eating bacon for health reasons. Nobody goes on a bacon diet. It doesn't do a body good. Why not? What's it high in? Fat. Saturated fat, cholesterol, sodium, and nitrates. Well, guess what? Milk and cheese is loaded with saturated fat and loaded with cholesterol. In fact, how many glasses of milk does the dairy industry, as well as our government, take a look at the food pyramid, which by the way was highly influenced by the dairy industry. So how many glasses of milk does our government tell us we need to drink every day? 2 to 3 glasses. If you were to follow the government's advice and drink 3 glasses of 2% milk, not whole milk, 3 glasses of 2% milk have the same amount of cholesterol as 15 slices of bacon. If I said to you need to eat 15 slices of bacon every day for the rest of your life to be healthy, would you believe that? If milk does a body good, why would 75% of the human population be lactose intolerant? 75%! That means 3 every 4 people on this planet, when they drink milk or eat cheese, and what is cheese? Just spoiled rotten milk, they suffer one of these symptoms. Diarrhea, stomachache, gasness, bloated, cramps, ear infection, excess mucus. If you suffer from any of these symptoms when you drink milk, eat cheese, congratulations, you're normal. It is normal to be lactose intolerant. Here's the reason why. All mammals, and human beings are mammals, have an enzyme known as lactase. Put an A right there. That enzyme breaks down the sugar known as lactose. However, as all mammals mature, including human beings, we lose that enzyme. That's why you don't see dogs nursing on their mother after infancy. Cats nursing on their mother after infancy. This is why you're not going to go home and nurse on a woman, because you're not an infant, and that'd be freaking disgusting. But hey, must be good for kids, right? Because every school I've been to, you can be guaranteed that cow's milk will be served in the cafeteria. Yet cow's milk is one of the most common food allergies among infant children. So how do you justify an illogical act? Oh, right, the story. What's in cow's milk that builds strong bones? Calcium. But just as important as calcium for strong bones is exercise. I mean, think about it. If all you do all day is consume calcium, but sit in your couch, but consume calcium, but sit in your couch, are you going to have strong bones? Of course not. You got to exercise. Whether you're running, jogging, jump ropes, push-ups, pull-ups, weight-bearing activities, playing a sport, you have to exercise. Also important for strong bones is vitamin D. Vitamin D is added to cow's milk. You know the original source of vitamin D? And it's free. All you need is about 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight every day. It's not a problem here in South Florida. So vitamin D, exercise, and calcium are important for strong bones. But my question for you is this the best source of calcium for human beings? Let's find out. What countries drink a lot of milk? What do you think?
Which ones?
United States, England, Sweden, Finland. I've been making this joke for the last 10 years because it keeps happening. Every time I go into some high school classroom, some kid will scream out Florida. In fact, the other day, some kid screamed out Florida. The kid right next to him goes, "Hey man, that Florida's not a planet." Whew. All right. Osteoporosis. What is osteoporosis? Weak bones, loss of bone density, degeneration of bones, brittle bones. Remember, you've been taught, drink cow's milk, get strong bones. What country do you think have the highest rate of weak bones? By the way, Florida would also be on this list. Well, that sucks, because I thought this was supposed to do the trick. I thought all we do is drink a glass of cow's milk to get strong bones. It's funny how that's what we're taught, yet why does every supermarket sell calcium supplements? No, seriously. Why would we need calcium supplements in the United States when we can't even go a day without eating cheese? If milk does a body good, why would 53 million Americans either suffer from osteoporosis or be at high risk of getting it? 53 million! I thought this was supposed to do the trick. The thing is, that's all it is. It's just a trick. In fact, a Harvard University study that followed 75,000 women for 12 years showed that increased intake of calcium dairy products did not lower the risk of osteoporosis. This is not a random coincidence. There's more to it, and the more to it is this. A diet that is high in animal protein can cause the body to excrete more calcium than normal through the kidneys. You see, the protein found in meat, dairy, eggs, and fish contain amino acids that are high in sulfur that our bodies just can't break down the way that real omnivores and real carnivores can. The human body is much better equipped to handle plant protein instead of animal protein. Now, you combine this with a lack of exercise, a lack of vitamin D, smoking cigarettes, and a diet high in sodium, alcohol, caffeine, and soda, and you have a recipe for weak bones. So what about your cereal? Problem solved. Get the milk from the plants. Soy milk, rice milk, hemp milk, oat milk, flax milk, cashew milk, coconut milk, and my personal favorite, almond milk. They come in 4 flavors. They even have actually a couple more. They got hazelnut milk, they got pea milk, which is not the best name for it, but we understand. There's other milks out there as well, plant milks. And the great thing about these plant milks is they all contain the exact same amount of calcium as cow's milk, 150 milligrams per half a glass. So what's the difference? There's no side effects. There's no blood, no pus, no high cholesterol, no saturated fat, normal growth hormones, no stress hormones, and it's plant protein instead of animal protein. It is a win-win situation. No animal has to suffer or die for your appetite or your health. Now, this is all well and good for your cereal, but to be honest, if you want calcium, just go directly to the source. Fruits and vegetables like dark leafy greens, collard greens, broccoli, kale, nuts, seeds, and beans are loaded with calcium. And the dark leafy greens and beans are also loaded with iron. In fact, who is the largest, strongest land animal on Earth? Elephant. Yeah, the other day I had some kid scream out dinosaur. Alright, elephant. And what does the elephant's diet consist of? Plants. You can tell an elephant to start drinking cow's milk for strong bones? He gets all his calcium from the plants. Now, these plants look healthy. Here's what's not healthy. 68% of all diseases are diet related. That's a government statistic. Now, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The bad news, that means that 3 to 5 in this room might become part of the statistic if you don't change what you eat. The good news, 68% of all diseases are preventable. Is the 68% of all diseases coming from the image on the left or the right? You ever heard of somebody suffering a heart attack because they ate too many oranges, sweet potatoes, and broccoli? What clogs arteries? Cholesterol. You don't get that cholesterol from the plants. All that cholesterol from the meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. And you get no fiber. Not 1 ounce of fiber from the meat, dairy, egg, and fish product. And what is fiber good for? Going to the bathroom. If you have trouble doing it, eat some more plants. Fiber is only found in plants. And you get no complex carbohydrates from the animal product. You need complex carbohydrates for energy. This is what your body runs on. It is the original fuel for your brain. Complex carbohydrates are only found in plants, like root vegetables, beans, peas, lentils, whole grains. However, not all carbohydrates are created equal. You want complex carbohydrates, and you want to avoid simple refined carbohydrates. Let me give you some examples of simple refined carbohydrates. White flour, white sugar, white bread. If it's white, it ain't right. Once it go black, can't go back. It's funny, if I say that in all white class, the kids are like, what the hell is he talking about? All black class, they all start high-fiving each other. Coca-Cola is the devil. Look, our diets are way too high in sugar and way too high in sodium. So without a doubt, this is definitely part of the 68% of all diseases. And as much as I despise these corporations, at least they're not coming out and saying it does a body good. Because that's exactly what the meat, dairy, egg, and fish industries are doing. You see, we live in a culture that feeds off of sickness, disease, and ignorance. I'll prove it to you. When you watch TV, what commercials do you see for food? Give me some of the commercials. McDoubles. What else? Toxic Health. Murder King. Thank you. That's all I got. Pizza Hut, KFC, Domino's, Papa John's, Red Lobster, Outback Steakhouse, Chili's, Arby's, Sonic. What are they all trying to sell you? Meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. It's not like you're seeing McDoubles come out with a commercial for broccoli, cauliflower, and sprout organic tofu. No, it's meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. And what commercials do you see in between the meat, dairy, eggs, and fish? You need some Pepto-Bismol? How about some Rolaids? Maybe need some Tums? You got a heartburn? Don't worry, we got you covered. Need some Metamucil? How about some Fiberclean? The 5-year diet kit? Shit, don't worry, we got you covered. Need some Citracal, some Caltrate? You got weak bones, osteoporosis? Don't worry, we got you covered. Need some Weight Watchers? How about Jenny Craig? Diet pills, overweight? Don't worry, we got you covered. Need some Lipitor? How about Crestor? Maybe some Avapil? You got high blood pressure, high cholesterol? Don't worry, we got you covered. Need some Levitras, Viagra? Can't get it up? Don't worry, we got you covered. And then what commercials do you got after the pills? Is your erection lasting longer than 4 hours? Can't get it down? Call Johnson & Johnson attorneys. We got you covered. Everybody's profiting off of sickness, disease, and ignorance. It's funny how all the foods that we're told we're supposed to eat now comes its own pill. So how do you justify the logical act? Oh, right, the story. Look, there's over 11 million vegetarians living in the United States. Have you ever heard of a vegetarian going to the hospital for lack of protein? It's unheard of. In fact, the World Health Organization is only about 40 to 50 grams of protein per day. If you're an athlete, you can double, triple, quadruple that. But 40 to 50 grams for the average male, female adult, let me show you how ridiculously easy it is to get 40 to 50 grams of protein without eating meat, dairy, eggs, or fish. You take an avocado, a can of garbanzo beans, chickpeas, and a tomato. This is very healthy, nutritious, inexpensive meals dirt cheap, and you got 25 grams of protein. Just like that, you're halfway there.
But the myth is that there is a certain kind of protein that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in 1 sec. 1 sec. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich on whole wheat bread with a glass of soy milk has about 20 grams of protein. One can of kidney beans has 24 grams of protein. Now, I'm not a big fan of buying canned foods, but I do want to show you how ridiculously easy it is to get protein. 1 cup of almonds, 28 grams of protein. Everything you see up here is composed of protein. As long as you get enough calories, you'll get enough protein. As long as you eat food, and Americans have no problem eating, you'll get enough protein. In fact, and this is probably will maybe answer that question or answer the myth, you could actually eat nothing but white potatoes and get all the protein you need. You can get every essential amino acid from just eating white potatoes throughout the day. However, I am not advocating going to a white potato diet, all right? This is not a healthy diet. It's devoid of so many of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. But in terms of protein, that's how ridiculously easy to get. Every food has all the essential amino acids. If you just eat one food like potatoes and just eat them throughout the day, you'll get all the essential amino acids. But that's not healthy. What I'm advocating is eat a variety of plant-based foods. The more color on your plate, the healthier you'll be. Remember, all nutrients have original source. So, like, where's the elephant, the rhino, the hippo, and the gorilla getting all their essential amino acids? From the plants. So that myth that you're not going to get the complete protein is just that. It's just a myth. All this contains protein. Eat a variety of plant-based foods, you get all your essential amino acids. Now, I do have a confession though. I love chicken. I love chicken. But the chicken I eat does not come from a dead carcass of a chicken. No, mine comes from a plant. It's called veggie chicken. However, it looks and tastes the same as the chicken you eat. The reason why is because they smoke it, cook it, grill it, fry it, bake it, and put the same spices, herbs, and seasoning that you put on dead chickens to make dead chickens taste good. Look, you are not eating meat for flavor. You're eating meat for texture. If you think you're eating meat for flavor, go outside, find yourself a squirrel, and eat them. Nobody looks at roadkill and goes, yeah, that looks pretty appetizing. You have to decorate death. If you can put a man or a woman in the moon, how hard is to make a plant taste like a chicken? It's not that hard. This will fool even the biggest meat eater. Every Publix, Whole Food, Target, Walmart, Costco's, BJ's, and Winn-Dixie sells it. Each box has 44 grams of protein. There's more protein to veggie chicken than actual chicken. Let me give you one more example. It's a Cliff Bar. It's a granola bar. Made from nothing plant. Tastes great. It's about the size of this remote. Has 20 grams of protein. It costs $1.50 at Publix. You spend $3 at Publix, you'll be all set for your protein day. This is how ridiculously easy it is to get protein. You don't need to work getting enough. You'll get enough. The problem is getting too much. The average American is getting over 100 grams of protein per day, double what we're supposed to be getting. That is why 30% of children and 65% of adults are considered overweight in the United States. We have one of the highest rates of obesity in the entire world, and yet we continue to talk about protein like we got some kind of deficiency. Oh yes, there's most definitely a problem with protein in the U.S. We're getting far too much of it. And yes, I know I'm a skinny white guy telling me enough protein without any meat, but these guys aren't skinny, and they're all vegetarians. They don't eat any meat. So please don't tell me you need to eat dead animals to excel at your sport, because these guys seem just fine without it. In fact, if you don't think you can gain muscle mass on a plant-based diet, maybe start to these guys. The largest, strongest land animals on Earth are all vegetarians, and the vegetarians live the longest. Go figure. Now think of your body as a car. You got to put the right fuel in it, get to work properly. Don't put the right fuel, it ain't going to work. If you don't take proper care of your car, it's not going to last as long. If you don't take proper care of your body, it's not going to last as long. This is the right fuel for your body. Again, this is where all nutrients originate from. Where do you think animals get their source of protein, calcium, iron, vitamins, and minerals? They get it from the plants, and then other animals eat those animals that got it from the plants. When you eat animals, you're eating the secondary source. You're eating something that's been stepped on. Stick to the original source. Look, let me show you just how idiotic our diet actually is. Let's take black beans and broccoli. It's healthy, nutritious, inexpensive, it's dirt cheap, and it provides with protein, calcium, and iron. But instead of eating the black beans and broccoli directly to get the protein, calcium, and iron, you're going to feed the black beans and broccoli to me, so I get the protein, calcium, and iron. And then what are you going to do? Yeah, kill me, cook me, and eat me. Cut the middleman out. Why are you filtering your nutrients through somebody else's body? Go directly to the source, because as long as you eat a variety of these plant-based foods, you get every vitamin, mineral, nutrient you need. You get everything but the side effects of meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. You eliminate all the high cholesterol, the high saturated fat, all the animal growth hormones, stress hormones, and all the ridiculously high amounts of animal protein. Instead, you get plant protein, which keeps the body in homeostasis. Now, if you don't like pyramids, if you're anti-pyramid, if you got something against pyramids, here's a plate. Right fuel for the body, wrong fuel for the body, according to our anatomy. Although we are omnivorous in our ability to eat both plants and animals, we, however, look nothing like omnivores or carnivores. Do you realize that physiologically our anatomy is almost 100% identical to our brother from another mother? We look like herbivores. How so? Our teeth. Yes, I know you have canine teeth. Congratulations. Most herbivores on this planet have canine teeth. If you think your canine teeth are sharp, take a look at cat or dog. They have fangs meant to rip through flesh. Ours are pretty dull and flat compared to theirs. Plus, we have more teeth like every other herbivore on this planet because we chew our food. Those of you who have a cat or dog, when you feed them, what do? Swallow, limited chewing. In fact, real omnivores, real carnivores, their jaw opens up nice and wide. They make a chomping motion just like this. Jaw goes up and down, up and down. Think of an alligator crocodile. Herbivores, including humans, our jaw goes side to side. We grind our food like this. We chew our food like horses and cows. If you're chewing gum right now, you know what I'm talking about. If we're meant to be on top of the food chain, don't you think we'd have some claws to rip through flesh? In fact, if I brought a pig into the room right now and asked you to kill the pig with your claws, the pig would probably enjoy it more than anything else. And just because we can create weapons like bow and arrows, knives, and guns, how does that change your anatomy? Especially your intestines. You see, our digestive tract, like all herbivores on this planet, are really long. Real omnivores, real carnivores, their digestive tract is much shorter in length. So whose food travels out faster? Simba's, which is good, because you can call it bacon as much as you want. Once in your body, it's no longer bacon. It's a dead animal. It's decomposing flesh. It's a rotting corpse. It is bacteria. And because omnivores, carnivores have 10 times hydrochloric acid, they can break the bacteria down. And because their intestines are shorter in length, they can crap it out faster. That is why you will never, ever, 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 ever hear of Simba suffering from high cholesterol. Now, I cannot leave without talking about fish. What do these two things have in common? Right, you ever take a temperature thermometer, break it open, drink liquid? Of course not. Every time you eat fish, you're doing near that exact same thing. We've polluted the ocean to such a great extent, the BP oil spill and that nuclear disaster in Japan, just because we don't talk about it anymore doesn't mean it went away. We've polluted the oceans to such a great extent, there's a warning label on fish. It says, nearly all fish contain some amount of mercury, chemicals known to cause cancer, birth defects, and reproductive harm. Pregnant nursing women, women who may become pregnant, and young children should not the following fish, including tuna. What else does the government tell women not to consume when they're pregnant? 3 things. Alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. So basically the government's saying, hey, look, if you're about becoming pregnant, lay off the alcohol, lay off the cigarettes, lay off the drugs. Oh, and stop eating fish. If fish can cause a woman's body and the child's body this much harm, why would anybody want to eat it? The omega-3, the omega-6, the brain food in fish gets canceled out by the mercury poisoning and the high cholesterol. You get omega-3 and omega-6 from flax seeds, hemp seeds, and walnuts, plants, without the high cholesterol and without the mercury poisoning. Hey, and speaking of pollution, I don't know if you noticed in that video, but there was tons of, you see, when you raise 10 million cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, or food, it generates a lot of waste. In fact, animal agriculture produces 130 times more excrement than the entire U.S. population. That is a lot of, so where's it all going? Our rivers and streams. Animal agriculture is the #1 cause of polluted rivers and streams in the United States. The meat and dairy industries are using our rivers and streams as a toilet. And no, that is not chocolate. And it's not just affecting our water supply and our soil, it's affecting the air as well. You see, all of this waste generates lots of gases, in particular methane, which is 23 times more potent than carbon dioxide. In fact, raising animals' food generates more greenhouse gas than all the cars, planes, ships, and trains world combined. Look, raising animals for food is not only bad for the environment, it is a complete waste of resources. It takes more land, more water, and more crops to raise animals for food than to just grow plants directly for human consumption. In fact, 70% of the grain grown in the United States is fed to farmed animals instead of people. 80% of the corn grown in the United States is consumed by livestock, poultry, and fish. We're feeding corn to fish. And over 30 million tons of soybean meal is consumed by livestock every year in the United States. 30 million tons. So if you have an irrational fear of soy, I suggest you stop eating animals, because most of this soy grown in the United States is fed to farmed animals. So all of this soy, corn, and grain be grown to feed animals instead of people, and yet for some reason, every 3.6 seconds, someone dies of starvation. 1, 2, 3. Something is seriously screwed up with the story that we've been told. Some stories are just not worth repeating. It is time for a new story, a story based upon health and compassion. And that story begins with you. It begins with what you eat. And that's always been a question. James, what the hell do you eat? Look, you're not going to see me on my hands and knees chewing on grass at the end of this presentation. I eat everything you eat. There's no sacrifice. The sacrifice will need meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. I will sacrifice the animal's life, my health, and the health of this planet. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, but it's more expensive though, right? Well, first off, I don't mind spending $1 on my almond milk if it's healthier for me, and it is. I'm saving money in the long run, less medical bills in the future. But you also got to remember it's about supply and demand. As demand goes up, the price goes down. That's why soy milk is just as cheap as cow's milk. There's a higher demand, so now there's a lower price. However, I do find it funny how everybody seems to be so concerned about the price of organic fruits and vegetables, yet they have no problem dropping $150 in a pair of Air Jordans. People are more concerned with what they wear in their body than what they put in their body. But I got good news. If you actually give a damn about your health, the healthiest food on the planet is the cheapest food on the planet. You want organic, non-GMO, pesticide-free fruits and vegetables that are dirt cheap? Grow your own. We live in South Florida. Grow a mango tree, papaya tree, avocado tree, banana tree, orange tree, lemon tree, coconut tree. Grow your own tomatoes, herbs, and spices. Look, beans, peas, lentils, brown rice, oatmeal, nuts, and seeds are the healthiest and cheapest food on the planet. You do not have to spend a lot of money to be healthy. Now, this is what I like to call transition food. This will help you replace the meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. And even though this is processed food, which is obviously not as healthy as this, it is still healthier than eating meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. Why? Doesn't have high cholesterol, doesn't have saturated fat, has no animal growth hormones, no stress hormones, and it's plant protein instead of animal protein. Win-win situation. Now, 85% of the food I'm about to show you can be found at Publix, 100% be found at Whole Foods, even Target, Walmart, Costco, BJ's, and Winn-Dixie starting to sell the popular brands. So let's go shopping. Instead of dairy, soy butter instead of cow butter tastes exactly the same. Oh, except there's no blood, no pus, no cholesterol, and no one will suffer and die. Coconut milk yogurt instead of cow milk yogurt, non-dairy cream cheese to put in your bagel, non-dairy ranch dressing to put in your salad, they even have an egg-free mayonnaise. Dairy-free cheese, about a half a dozen in the market. Find the one you like. My personal favorite, called Daiya cheese, you can find it at Publix and Whole Foods. Goes great in a grilled cheese sandwich, nachos, and pizza. Dairy-free ice cream, hands down the best ice cream in the world, coconut milk cookie dough ice cream. Now, if you don't like coconuts, don't worry, because you got soy milk ice cream, almond milk ice cream, rice milk ice cream, cashew milk ice cream. I got 5 alternatives to your one. Even Ben & Jerry's now has its own line of dairy-free ice cream. Yeah. You can always tell the vegans in the room. They will applaud. Just look for the non-dairy words in the bottom. Even Breyers now has a vegan ice cream on the market. Alright, instead of poultry, they got chicken-free chicken strips, they got veggie barbecue wings, they have a veggie turkey for Thanksgiving. In fact, this is my Thanksgiving it looked like. No meat, no dairy, no eggs were used. No animal had to suffer or die for my appetite, not even on Thanksgiving. Instead of beef, veggie burgers. There are dozens in the market. Find the ones you like, don't buy the ones you don't like. If you like the taste of a Whopper, definitely check out the Beyond Meat Burger. Every Publix and Whole Foods sells it. Also check out Gardein. Gardein has over 24 products in the market. Every supermarket sells Gardein. Just look in the freezer section. And Publix does a lot of 2-for-1 sales, so it ends up being pretty cheap. They got veggie chicken, veggie turkey, veggie beef, veggie pork. They even have veggie fish products. Instead of pork, they got veggie riblets, veggie dogs, veggie bacon. They even have veggie pepperoni, go in your dairy-free cheese pizza. And instead of fish, they got veggie tuna, veggie crab cakes, veggie shrimp, and veggie fish fillet. So instead of eating a sea animal, I'm eating a sea vegetable. Now, if you're looking for these products, look for the word vegan, look for the vegan symbol, or simply read the ingredients. A vegan is somebody that chooses not to eat any animal products. No meat, no dairy, no eggs, no fish. Nothing from an animal. This is different from vegetarian. A vegetarian still has dairy and eggs. Now, before you say it's hard to be vegan, half your diet is already vegan. Fruits and vegetables, rice and beans, pasta, spaghetti, nuts, seeds, baked potato, peanut butter jelly sandwich, corn on the cob is all vegan. In fact, everything you see up here is vegan. There's no meat, no dairy, no eggs, no fish. It's all cruelty-free. It's all cholesterol-free. It's all vegan. Kids love this slide. However, this is all crap, okay? If this is what your diet looks like, you're going to die. This is terrible food. Let me show you some healthier vegan food. Scrambled tofu instead of scrambled hen periods for breakfast. Vegan waffles with soy butter and maple syrup. Fruit salad. Spaghetti with marinara sauce. Nachos, vegan cheese, vegan sour cream, guacamole, and salsa. Vegan cheese in the pizza. Remember, when you have a veggie burger, veggie dog, it's all about the condiment, spice, the herbs, the seasoning you put on it. It is the ketchup, the mustard, the relish, the onions that bring out the flavor. Now, it's real easy to bake without eggs. You can use egg replacers, bananas, applesauce, dates. They even have a vegan egg on the market. They got vegan chocolate chips going in your vegan cookie. This is coconut milk ice cream on a vegan brown with maple syrup on the top. And my personal favorite is a chocolate Nirvana right here in this restaurant at Sublime. So, a little shout out to Sublime. Definitely get this tonight if you're staying for dinner. And I got some more good news. You can still go to your shitty-ass restaurants. All these restaurants have vegan options. Denny's has a veggie burger. I can't believe I'm saying this. Denny's has something good. Starbucks has soy milk, coconut milk, and almond milk. Jamba Juice has almond milk and soy milk. Toxic Hell has a 7-layer bean burrito. Just make it 5 layers. Get rid of the blood and the pus. No dairy, no sour cream, no cheese. Low on the rice, beans, guacamole, and salsa. Subway has a veggie sub. It's called the Veggie Delight. Makes you ask for Italian bread. Also ask for avocado. Say no cheese, no mayo. Use mustard. Low on the veggies. Chipotle has a vegan burrito to go with the E. coli. It's called sofritas. It's made from tofu, taste and texture as like meat. And Olive Garden, oh man, Olive Garden, one step above a Denny's. But if you like Olive Garden, they got spaghetti, pasta, penne with tomato sauce is vegan, and their unlimited breadsticks are actually vegan. Just make sure you tell the server no butter before they bring them out. Now it's funny, even after all this, I still hear a lot of people say, I don't know, James, it sounds pretty difficult to be vegan. No, it's not difficult to be vegan. You know what's difficult? Climbing Mount Everest, okay, that's difficult. Going to the supermarket and buying almond milk instead of cow's milk is not difficult. In fact, let me show you how easy this can be. For breakfast, let's take a bagel, some vegan dairy-free cream cheese, oatmeal, almond milk, and some fruit. Healthy, nutritious, inexpensive. For lunch, we got 2 slices of whole wheat bread, some veggies, and egg-free mayonnaise out of this world. Every Publix and Whole Foods sells it. 2 slices tomato, lettuce, veggie bacon, sweet potato fries. You got a BLT that's cruelty-free, cholesterol-free. And for dinner, we got spaghetti with marinara sauce, meatless meatballs by Gardein. They even have a vegan dairy-free Parmesan cheese to put on top. You can have a salad and some Italian dressing to go with it. No meat, no dairy, no eggs were used. No animal had to suffer or die for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Now, if you try to go vegan, let's say go vegan for a month, a week, or even just a day, and then you slip up, you eat some chicken, it's not the end of the world. Well, it's for the chicken. But it doesn't mean you can't try again. I don't know why, but for some reason, people think that vegan is like a one and done deal. Like, I tried it once. Look, if you try to go vegan, you had to have a reason. Nobody does anything for no reason. So my guess is you probably care about animals. Most people do. You probably care about your health. Most people do. You might even care about the environment. Some people do. So it's okay to slip up, but to not try again, what does that mean? You don't care about animals anymore? You don't care about your health anymore? You don't care about the environment anymore? It's okay to slip up, just don't give up. Practice makes perfect. Focus on the reasons why you're doing it. It'll make the transition that much easier. Because look, even if you all go vegan for 1 meal a day or 1 day of the week, it's better than not going vegan at all. Because every meal that you go vegan, you make a difference. You make a difference for the animals, for your health, for the environment, and you inspire others to make that difference as well. Their product. This is the matrix, the lie we tell ourselves about where our food is coming from. You see, the reality is far more disturbing. 90 to 95% of the milk, the meat, and the eggs that we consume in the United States are coming from these conditions. Now, this is called factory farming. This is where you take thousands of hens, pigs, And cows, you can find them into warehouses. In fact, every year in the United States, 10 billion, right? 10 billion cows, pigs, and chickens are being slaughtered for food. So what that works out to be is every second in the United States, 300 animals are killed. Just like that. So 300, 600, 900, 1,200. By the time this presentation is over 1 million animals will have been slaughtered. Now, how is it possible we can kill 300 animals like that without even questioning it? Because of the story. You see, the story justifies the action. In fact, if you say it enough times, you actually convince yourself that's the truth. Now, how many of you were taught as a child that you need to eat meat to get protein? I know I was. How many of you were taught you need to drink cow's milk to get strong bones? Cow's milk, not dog milk, not cat milk, not rat milk, not... Good evening, and thank you guys for coming. My name is James Wildman. I am the Humane Educator for the Animal Rights Foundation of Florida. Now, I'm typically giving this presentation in a high school or college classroom, which has some benefits. One, school is like prison. I'm always guaranteed an audience. And like prison, the kids can't leave. Unfortunately, this isn't school or prison. You can leave whenever you like, but hopefully you will stay. Now, another benefit of talking in a high school or college classroom is that I know my audience. I pretty much can guarantee that 99% of the students in that class are eating meat, dairy, eggs. But when I talk to adults, I really have no idea what your diet consists of. And you're in a vegan restaurant right now, so I'd like to find out. So if everybody can please stand up. Okay, now if you are vegan, meaning you choose not to eat any flesh of an animal, no cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, fish, and no byproducts, no dairy, no eggs, nothing that comes from an animal. If you are vegan, please have a seat. Wow, okay. Mouse milk, not elephant milk, not giraffe milk, not chimp milk, gorilla milk, not rhino milk, not even the milk from your own mother. No, you need to drink the liquid secretions that drip, drip, drip from a cow's udder to get strong bones. Now, I am not here to tell you what to do. I simply want to know the truth. So let's find out if the Matrix is telling the truth. Now, the first story that we've all been taught is that our diet is natural. Well, let's find out just how natural our diet really is. Let's take a 3-year-old from any country in the world. Put that through in a room and line up 5 animals in front of that 3-year-old. A pig, a dog, a cow, a cat, and a chicken. Do you think the 3-year-old's going to know which one to pet and which one to eat? What's the 3-year-old most likely going to try to do? Pet them all. The 3-year-old has to be taught, no. Don't pet him. Eat him, pet him, love him. That's what we were taught. We did not choose our diet. Our diet is a learned behavior. Our diet was chosen to us by our parents based upon a cultural story. If we grew up somewhere else, we might be eating dogs and cats right now. But I guarantee you this, if we were given the choice as a child, none of us would be eating animals. Because no child wants to hurt an animal. And no child wants to pay somebody else to hurt the animal for them. Look, think about it this way. Put it just like a high school kid. And it doesn't take very much. Now just imagine if as a child you were taught the lie that the blue circle is larger than the red, or that the red is larger than the blue, that lie becomes part of your reality. And if you say the lie enough times, you actually convince yourself that's the truth. And if enough people are taught that lie, well, now that lie becomes part of the culture. And then if that culture passes that misinformation along to the next generation, their children, well, now that lie becomes tradition. And we have to remember is tradition and morality, what we believe to be right, are not always the same. Can you think of any traditions that we once had in the United States of America that, thankfully, today we no longer have?
Slavery.
Less than 200 years ago, slavery was a tradition in this country. Less than 100 years ago, women didn't have the right to vote. And less than 50 years ago, segregation was a part of this culture. But as we evolve as a culture, so do our traditions. So is our way of thinking. You see, the Matrix is simply a story, and this story is being told again and again and again. In fact, if you believe the image on the carton is where you're getting your milk from, you're deceiving yourself. This is a fantasy. It only exists in your head. It's a blue pill fed to you by the industry to get you to buy. All right, very good, very good. All right, now the rest of you, you're going to have to remain standing throughout the rest of the presentation. I'm kidding, just everybody have a seat. Thank you. Now, how many of you have ever seen the movie The Matrix? Please raise your hand. All right, good. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, there's a scene at the very beginning of the film where the main character is presented with 2 pills, one blue and one red. And he has to make a choice. If you choose the blue pill, he falls asleep, and when he wakes up, everything will be exactly the way it's always been. If you choose the red pill, he finally learns the truth. I'm here today to give you that red pill. So, what does the Matrix look like? Let me show you. Now, despite what you might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is. All right, so please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. All right, please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. All right, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Yeah, they look the same. The reason why they look the same is because, in fact, they are the same. These two circles are equal. I got about more than half of you to raise your hand and say they're not. So, what do we learn? That you could be manipulated